Mic check, mic check. Hello. Okay, so the move that happened right after lunch was the move that I was trying to play right up until lunch, and then got stopped out. That's fine though, because we have the displacement we were looking for. So now that we've met this higher time frame objective, we are going to again look for shorts. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look for an entry. It's about 50%. Okay, so we have this order block. Fair value gap. What we will do is I will look for, I would like to see us come up, like spike up and then displace lower. Let's see on the 5 minute, I'm gonna adjust it to the 5 minute. Yeah, so right around here we got 50%. I wouldn't be surprised if it got up in to this fair value gap and never crossed the 50% threshold. I think that's permissible. Our target is the sell side. We have these nice equal lows on ES, and we also have the opening range gap. If we do break below this low, I would take a fair value gap short without having liquidity, a sweep of liquidity to the upside. If the fair value gap low showed some good displacement. So if it was like 2 to 3 of these candles right here that left a fair value gap, I would take that short. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait and see if we run up these highs and then displace lower. But if we displace lower, I will also take that short. This morning wasn't really frustrating. I think, you know what was happening was ICT was actually tweeting, and he was tweeting because what he was tweeting was, if you look in the top left here, our higher time frame narrative is we are retracing into this daily fair value gap to then send it lower. So what he was doing was we reached this higher time frame target, and he was going to wait for us to then displace lower. And I think I got a little too caught up in that, and I think somewhere right around here he was calling out the sell side basically, and I was trying to short the sell side. So I think that got in my head a little too much, just that's why you should, when you're forming your own trades, not to listen to people. If you're trying to learn, listen to people. But if you're in the moment trying to trade your own narrative, train your own bias, don't let other people, don't let other people influence that when you are forming your own narrative and bias for the purpose of taking a trade. Because then you get all these conflicting, you get it's like having just another voice in your head, and you only want one voice in your head, and that's yours. Yeah, so I was also waiting for this fair value gap. That this would have been like the silver bullet. It was a really little one. I didn't take it. I was actually waiting for a deeper retracement, so I never ended up going long. I was targeting this area as well, so if I saw a good entry, I wanted to enter long up there. But then when we reached it, I was trying to go short, and I should have just stuck with the direction. I should have really just stuck with the direction until I saw a more aggressive drop. This is displacement. When you have a run up all morning, this is the displacement that you want to see to constitute going short, whereas this is the displacement that I tried to go short on. Not too aggressive. See, this right here is a pullback. This is like a reversal. With that being said, that isn't saying that we formed this higher high, and this is going to be a higher low, and we can't go up and take these highs. We could go up and take these highs. I don't think we will. We're going to play short because of our higher time frame narrative of this being a discount. I mean, a premium to then go discount. But if we were in, say, like a bull trend, and we weren't shifting structure right here, say, we hadn't been bearish the past few weeks, playing this, like having this orange area be the target, and then trying to play this as a like a discount to a premium kind of trade, then that's when like a discount to a premium trade here would make sense. But since we've been bearish, we're playing this as a premium to a discount trade. I don't know why it took me so long to find that 5 o'clock, 1500. Cool. On the 15-minute, we entered that order block. I mean, the fair value gap. I've been really mixing those two up right now. We entered that fair value gap right there. So yes, we are looking for displacement to the downside with an entry. I think, if we getting below this swing low would constitute definite downside. If we were to get below this swing low and then go higher, I'd probably want to sit to the sidelines. I'm going to take a look over at NQ. ICT called out this buy side. But I'm going to make sure I don't take the same mistake as I did in the morning and get too hooked on what he's calling out. Let's take a look at the dollar, bottom left. Dollar is looking like it's working well with the indices. Yeah, so right now we're in this sideways action. We're going to look for any signatures that could show us we want to leave it. So for this range we're in, we have this high to this low as our dealing range, until we either get below this low or get above this high. Wouldn't be too interested. I would like to, I would like a short entry before we break this low, but that might not happen. A short entry before we break this low would be if we came up, swept some buy side, and then displaced lower. Or if we displaced pretty aggressively, I would also enter it, but that aggressiveness would have to show, it would have to be aggressive enough to prove to me that we are not going up. I am excited about where we are now, though, on the daily chart, because I do plan on entering swings in this daily fair value gap to target below this weekly. That's out of the scope of this YouTube channel. I'll be doing that on my own personal accounts that aren't shown here, but little side comment. Okay, so we got our first fair value gap of this 2 to 3 window, which is right here. So we had that, but now it looks like we're forming another one right here. I would enter on this. Just one, something small. I'm watching. Watching how we react to this wick. I'm going to take this off for a moment. That's where my dollar went. Okay, so we got an SMT divergence happening right now between ES and NQ. You can see we're making a lower low on the 1 minute for these two lows for ES, but we're not making that lower low for NQ. The dollar seems to be slightly going higher. I'm watching this specifically because, in the scenario where we do want to go up and take out these highs and continue higher for the day, and what this really is just a pullback. This is something that could signal that you have these, because what happened was ES met its objective. This orange area is its objective, whereas on NQ we were kind of above this. It's orange area, it's daily fair value gap, and that's why ICT was calling out the buy side on NQ is right here, because ES can still go to the top of this premium array. But since NQ is above that premium array, its next premium is this buy side. Okay, so while I was doing that, I was bopping around the charts. We missed this as a fair value gap entry. I'm still hesitant because we do have this SMT, so I'm not going to try and re-enter. I'm not going to try and enter if we re-enter this fair value gap because of this SMT divergence that we have happening right now. It very well could. It very well could go lower, but I will not be a participant in it. Let's see. Let's watch. I like how it came straight to the top. Okay, I have the bodies of a few candles respecting this fair value gap. I want to watch this candle. Okay. So if we do have some highs, so now that we've kind of had this SMT, if we do start to show some aggressiveness to the upside, I will reconsider the short narrative. Yeah, so I'm holding off on shorts right now because we have this SMT and we broke through this fair value gap. If the dollar looks like it might be turning around. Now I'm watching how we respect this fair value gap. Let's see. If we then take this low, I would like downside again. NQ is looking pretty bearish. So is E-mini, but again, we want to make sure we're not trying to play any kind of, we don't play breakouts. So okay, looking good. Still just kind of waiting, you always waiting for something a little more obvious. I want to see how this candle prints. Okay, because we're making lows, new lows on NASDAQ, which is what kept us out originally from going short off these. But I want to see if this prints like a big bodied candle or a wick. It's also kind of hard because if we wanted to see more upside, where we are right now would be the discount. So this 15-minute and 5-minute PD array would be the discount to send it to a premium. And I don't really like it when we are in situations like this where it's like we have this downside target, we've ran up all morning, and you kind of want to think it's going to reverse. But it could just be pulling back to a higher, like a 15-minute discount to go higher again. which is why you're seeing this reaction off of that level. See, you're seeing that. Whoa, messed it up. You're seeing this reaction right here because what we just did was we tapped into a discount on the day. But you could have, if we went short on this fair value gap, you could have got 5 handles from that to the bottom. I am liking longs right now. I want to see us take, yeah, we broke above that high. I would go long on an entry. Probably not that. If we were to close above this fair value gap right here, I would use it as an inversion to go long. The fact that we wicked above this high is enough to induce a buy program. We have the dollar dropping. Notice how the dollar also, when we were making these lows right here, when we were coming from here to here, the dollar wasn't making any new high, you know. Yeah. I also don't like how our body respected this fair value gap. So that would definitely make me want to wait until we get above it, use that as an inversion. The dollar's plummeting, so I'm not, just because the dollar is breaking new lows, that's why I'm not like, oh, let's go short off of this. If the dollar was making new highs, I would be going short off of that. Taking that off now because NASDAQ has now made its lower low. I want to see if it uses this as an order block. This low is significant in my mind because on both indices, it is the new low of this retracement from the highs. Whereas like this one and this one, they weren't lower lows for NASDAQ. Here's NASDAQ. So NASDAQ took out 1, 2, these 3 lows. So again, I want to see Noticing the dollar making lower low. Okay, we're up above that. I want to see us close above this level. This for value gap. It's really holding down price. Just been in this range. I mean, could have got lucky, you know, scalping. That wouldn't have been too lucky. That would have been a decent reason to go short from there to here. But to do it again and to do it a third time. Okay, so watching the dollar still. I'm liking how we kind of came up and took liquidity. If you can look on NASDAQ, well, come back NASDAQ. If you can, there we go. If you look on NASDAQ, the 1 minute, look at all of these highs that haven't, all this liquidity, buy side liquidity that hasn't been purged. I think on ES you saw that reaction because we came up and just took two highs, but it's been no obvious sweep of liquidity. I like this though. I'm with the dollar going up now. I am liking. I'm basing my context off the dollar a lot right now, which has kind of been sideways. I think it still wants to go higher. We're just going to wait. We're just going to wait. We're going to be patient till we know. Because we're still sideways technically. We're still sideways. We've had movement, but we're still sideways. I was about to enter on this fair value gap just because I saw us take some 5 minute liquidity. I would have liked it if it was 5 and 15 minute liquidity. But I'm just going to wait again because, you know, if smart money really is accumulating this discount to sell it at a premium, then we're not going to see any shorts we take are not going to make it too far below this yellow line. So I'm just going to wait. Wait and watch. Now that we've dipped in below this 50% line, which is the high and the low, these equal lows. And we've spent so much time kind of just accumulating right above / at it. If we do see some aggressiveness to the upside, I would like longs. Definitely more. I guess I'll leave that back. Just keep telling myself I'd rather be in no trade than a bad trade. So we will wait it through this chop. Okay, dollar looks like it wants to make a new low. I mean, part of my internal dialogue too right now was like, why didn't I enter that and take it? I could have got 5 handles right there. Would have been nice. Would have been a nice 5 handles if I entered in off that. At the time I didn't, because NASDAQ, you can see it made a little high. It went higher. It took out the high, this high. And at the same time, the dollar was dipping. The dollar wasn't making a higher high. So, and I guess it makes sense, because if this was like a low liquidity run where it was going to actually return to the sell side, and it was going to, this was like this fair value gap was a catalyst to do that, those things would have been more in tandem. You wouldn't have saw this on NASDAQ, this high take out that high, and you would have saw the dollar also making higher highs. So like logically, the trader is like, no, that made sense. That was good. Okay, I want to see a close above this. But yeah, part of me was just, just kind of because, well, I guess it's FOMO, I feel like I could have got 5 handles there and I didn't, and I thought about it, but I didn't. But in reality, that wasn't like the trade. I'd rather wait for a more solid trade. And what I think will be a solid trade is, while this dollar continues to drop, if we close above this fair value gap, which we've been reacting off of, if we close above it, come back down, and then we target these highs and this fair value gap, that's something I like. Whoa. Okay. on the ES 5 minute. This is an SMT. So we got some confluences here. Okay, remember, I want to see a close. I don't want it to run up too high. Okay, we are seeing some technical difficulties, my friends. Oh. Okay. Had some technical difficulties right there. But we are in the trade that we planned on being in. We're a tick higher than we expected, but all in all, no problems so far. Stop. Gonna have it right there. Targeting these highs and this 5 minute fair value gap. If we got a close below this fair value gap right here, if we got a candle close below that, I would not like the trade too much anymore. I want this candle body to close above it. Watching the dollar. I want to make sure the dollar continues to go lower. My trading view is acting up right now. I'm gonna sell one, right? Just because we took these highs. Damn, my trading view is acting funky. Again, so remember before, okay, we got some volatility coming into the market. Before, when this session first started, what I said I was hoping was we would take out these highs and then go lower. So why I kind of just, it looked a little haphazardly. I was getting kind of nervous because my trading view was freezing up a little bit. But I wanted to pay attention to how we took these highs, because I wanted to know if they were going to be the liquidity that we were looking for in the beginning of the session. So if we start going lower right now, I really like that for downside. Like if we close below this fair value gap. And what that did was we just swept liquidity to the buy side, tapped in. That still counts if we touch it, this 5 minute fair value gap, and now we're going to go lower. You can see it on NQ2. We swept all that liquidity that I was talking about. So I would like to look for an entry to the downside now. We walked away from that trade positive it happened very quickly. Yeah, that wasn't as clean as I want. It wasn't a full 5 handles, and it was like 475. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to move my take profit, or set my take profit at this buy side line. I will like to enter another short. I'll do that right there. Coming up and tapping this, the bottom of this fair value gap again. Okay, and we're targeting these lows now. Gonna I'm actually gonna have a smaller stop. I'm gonna put it right at the top of that fair value gap. Watching the dollar, but how aggressively these two candles came up makes me think that we did that just to sweep liquidity. I want to see how aggressively we move towards these lows now. The more aggressive, if we start to move really quickly towards these lows, I will hold on to the trade a little longer. If we don't move aggressively towards these lows, I'll probably take profit rather quickly. I actually don't like how the dollar's dropping, so I'm going to exit this trade. I'm watching the dollar. I'd rather I'm going to wait for the dollar to stop dropping. Stop drop. Also, if you look at the 5 minute too, like look at this range we're in the 5 minutes. So I don't want to get too caught up in scalping a range. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to leave this range right now. So we could actually, that trade I was just in, that trade could just run down to these lows. Like that. It's okay that we're not in it. I think there's a lot of volatility. I don't know if it's my trading view. Like the way the candles are printing, it seems like it's almost in like a seek and destroy like condition. Like it's hard to explain. Like the candles will like just don't feel like they're printing too naturally, and my trading view was freezing when I was trying to place these the trade orders. So let's just watch. Remember, we're still in this 5 minute range, so let's not get too caught up in what the 1 minute price action is doing just yet. Okay, so yeah. Okay, I'm liking it a lot more now. Because the dollar, see the dollar is now made 1, 2, 3 lows, and now it's breaking above these lows. I'm also fine with not being in these trades because, some of the best trades I've noticed are ones that they're also trades on the 5 minute. And what that means is, it'll be a fair value gap that is also on the 5 minute. And if you look at the 5 minute right here, we've had absolutely dog shit price action. So this candle that's actually showing some real direction, these two candles really, this taking of liquidity and now reversing, this price action is actually starting to price action. I'm gonna reset a trade entry. We might not get it. Might come back on us. Might go without us. I'm going to take this off now that we're not considering buy side anymore. Thinking it might just treat this as a breaker because we have this high low, higher high break. If we don't get into this sell limit, that's probably why. What we're doing is we are reversing right at this down close candle. If price was to turn around and come back, we are 100% in some seek and destroy conditions, just because, you know, range, swap buy side, swap sell side, then comes back into the range. That's some seek and destroy shit right there. Again, you know, you could have entered on this fair value gap because it's also in tandem with what looks like a breaker. I just kind of want to wait for this. Just a little higher, just because we've already taken a few scalps right now. So I'm not trying to get too hasty with the entries. It's not a bad entry right there in tandem with what this could be a breaker. But if you notice, NASDAQ looks like it's stopping right at the consequent encroachment of this wick. I think, you know, part of me wants to not take this trade just because NASDAQ and ES are, like, we have this lower low. We're making all these lower lows on ES, and we're not on NASDAQ, and they're kind of coming uncorrelated a little bit. And the 3 o'clock hour, we're ending. And I already took 3 trades today. So the trades today, these 2 were in the morning. These were 2 separate trades. And then we had all this right in this hour. These 2 were just 2 different exits of the same entry. And then we had that one where we just decided not to take it anymore. All in all, let's see, this is 287 right here. And then we have 49 plus 37 is 190. So we're in the red for the day. But couldn't really care. I don't mind this. What we did was we just entered some trades, and some of them panned out. Some of them there's a lot of good risk mitigation and what's happening right here, especially because this price action is starting to look a little scary. It's not looking clean. You know, as long as we're below this, which is decently sized fair value gap, as long as we're below this, price action is still safe in my mind. But if we retrace close above this fair value gap, then I think we're in seek and destroy conditions just from wiping out both sides of this range. But it could not happen. It could, you know, look, we're reacting really nicely. We would have got entered there before I exit the trade. So we could enter, it could pull back into here and then displace lower. Not too interested in trading just because of how ES and NQ are behaving. I mean, this is kind of scalping conditions, as you can see. They're very, very scalpy conditions. I'm hesitant just because NQ hasn't made that lower low yet. If NQ made that lower low, I'd say we're seeing the sell side all day, and I'd be trying to enter short. But these were good entry short, and it turned back on you and stopped out any shorts that were in here. Then we came down, and after breaking through this low right here, we really need to, especially since we did it on the 5 minute too, we need to see some acceleration to the downside here for me to consider this price action any type of valid. I don't think I will be a participant in that. Watch, I'll show you on NQ why I'm staying out of price right now, because this low didn't break that low, and that low specifically stopped right at the consequent encroachment. So 50% of this wick, we had price, especially right on this candle, this black candle, stop right at it. And that's kind of scary. It's kind of seek and destroy-esque with CPI coming later this week. Bank holiday yesterday. Look, now we have the dollar. Thought it was coming back. Now it's coming down lower. I would be nervous to be short at this fair value gap now. And what's probably going to happen is we're having all this price action, took out buy side. I think the day is going to, I think between 3 and 4, this is going to go higher. Just because we've dipped in. So up here on the 15 minute, we have the fib drawn from this low to this high. This fair value gap on the 15 minute below this yellow line is the discount. On the 5 minute, it is the discount. You can see this 5 minute fair value gap. I think what happened was we just dipped into it twice for smart money to get their discount value, and now in the last hour we're going to send it higher to sell at a premium. It could go lower though, but I don't want to be in this price action. Cool. Yeah, so I mean, now looking back on it, it is good because it's good that we didn't take that trade, because we would have entered at the bottom of this fair value gap. You could have entered at consequent encroachment. But see, if our narrative that we're telling ourselves is we're seeing this sell side, it's gonna enter this and then drop. It's not gonna do what it's doing right now. It's gonna show some willingness to need to get down there, so it'll enter it and then leave. And this fair value gap is fairly large for what the trades we've been taking on this account lately. So, a reasonable stop, you could put your stop like here or here, but the real stop would have to be above. No, I guess it could be right there. There's 5 handles. It's not a super big stop. The dollar, you can see it. The dollar's kind of acting at 4 right now. But yeah, if we don't leave this fair value gap, especially after taking liquidity. So this is something that, all in here, I was trying not to take a trade because I was waiting for something like this. I was waiting for a run up, an aggressive run up, and then an aggressive drop, because that right there is us taking liquidity. And then I was waiting. I entered right here, and I guess it's my bad. Something I need to work on. I'm pretty good at recognizing when price isn't the best, and then sometimes I'll exit trades that could have panned out nicely for me. We could have got 5 handles off that entry. But I ended up exiting the trade because I actually exited the trade just because of what I was explaining in NQ. I looked and we weren't at a lower low. So so I was talking about how between 3 and 4 we could, I think now after seeing this and then this, we're either in seek and destroy and we're just going to go sideways, or I think we could have been gathering discount to go and sell higher, but I don't want to stay on and wait for that to happen because it's going to be really tough price action, and it's not going to be really, I don't want to sit through any more tough price action. Dollar's still going higher though. Dollars. Yeah, now look, you have the dollar making higher highs, but we're kind of melting up. Cool. I'm going to log off. I will be on tomorrow, and enjoy the rest of your day.